And we're live. All right, guys, say hi. Let us know what techniques you want to see. We're getting close, guys. We're getting close to opening back up. Right now, the plan is the 15th. There's supposed to be a big announcement from the governor's office on Friday, and that should be the final word whether or not we will be opening up. If not, Nick's gonna start cracking some skulls. Apparently,
Might have to hit a one.
he's gonna go commit some assault. Apparently. Oh man.
What's the technique we're going over? It's the best way to get a dry rash start out. We tackle the front, then we go from back. Lock out your back. It's all about the body movement. Less about grabbing the rash guard, it's all about contorting the body. Nobody likes to stretch rash guards.
Nobody.
Nope. Now
All right, guys. Let me know what techniques you want to see. Say hi in the comments. Otherwise, we have no idea who's even watching. So let us know what you guys want to see. We're going to start in just a minute.
What is that? What is it? Technique. Lasso guard?
Yeah, there is no no-gi lasso.
Honestly, I was so scarred. I did gi like 3 times. It was with the guy from. Did I ever tell you that he was so salty about 10 Planet going over there?
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, dude, he like ripped the banner down multiple times. Like he was so pissed about it. Like he got because he had this like got started. And all of a sudden there was like 15 people, and he had like the same like jackass student basically. Yeah. So my only experience I had basically was doing like 2 different classes. One of them was like, all right, we're gonna rep doing like arm bars and guard, and like I kept doing it wrong. It's just like wrong. Like keep doing it right.
No fixing it.
Yeah, it was just like, thanks for telling me what to do. This is my first
What's
day.
up, Kevin?
And then he sicked his like guy who's been training like 3 years, and he just basically like lapel choked me like 10 times. And it was like, thanks for telling me how to defend it, and just keep choking me. I'm done with this. And then Scott told me
Lapel chokes.
Just getting the belt choke.
yeah. Well, then not telling me what to do.
I would just do a W on triangle and E.
There you go. Well, then I started with Scott. Tell us how to go. First day.
Of course. Oh man! So right now the plan is to come back next week. We're going to start with a very limited schedule. Only a few evening classes. What's up, Layla? That way, for the first couple weeks, we can just kind of dip our toes in the water, make sure that we have our cleaning routine down. We got our screening and everything else. We got one of those little temperature guns, the thermometers, to check everybody's temperature on the way in. If you are feeling sick in any way, shape, or form, stay home. That's going to be one of the biggest things. Other than that, we'll have more details in a final email with all the reopening plans. That'll be coming soon for you guys. What do you want to see, Layla? What do you want to see, Kevin? We're gonna do a little bit of guard passing stuff, but turn your grip over. There you go. Yeah, triangle your legs tight. Good. Now hip straight to the ceiling. There you go.
Yeah, I had like a bit of an epiphany moment just to think about it. That like, so every time you go up your hill, it's like your knee, it's you're driving through. The hip should be going sideways through it.
Yep. Okay. Yep, there's that knee to hip angle we always talk about.
Should listen.
No, it can be whatever you want. That's why we're doing these. Drop a request in that we can go over. If we want to see.
Ridiculous submission you've ever seen.
The most ridiculous submission I've ever seen.
Just something.
That'd be the Boston crab. We already covered that. We already went over that in detail.
Going off that hobby hook, going.
Oh yeah.
Sweep them, then you flip the leg over and get a stock with the stocks.
Yeah, the stocks are that'd be the stocks. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's like bullshit that you do.
That was great. Yeah, guys, we can go over whatever you want to go over. Just leave it in the comments.
Even takedowns, that'll hurt.
Yeah, I guess we do. It doesn't seem to be a lot of.
Want to show them the easy trip now? I'm gonna let it trip now.
Go for it.
Down with wrestling.
Go for it.
I'm better in the legs, though.
Yeah.
Kevin, arm triangle setups. You can do that. Mount triangle fail options. Okay.
I know what
Those are actually two good topics. We can go over some arm triangle setups, and we can do mount triangle fail options. So I'm assuming you can't get the tap from the mounted triangle, and then what are we going to do? I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, right, Layla? Oh, that was pretty. Okay.
Show me your other one, Kyle.
One trick bone. Guillotines. And I'll do it. That's why they fall into it. Okay.
So you get the inside.
Thanks.
Got
All right, so we'll start out with some arm triangle setups. Obviously, setting up the arm triangle. Let's see, yes, or the setup fails. So I guess there would be other options from. Okay, what specific setup are you using? Is a proper name for the high mount? High mount?
Skydive?
Are you talking? Skydive's not really the high mount.
I know, I didn't know if that's what they're talking about, though, like the mounting process leading up to the arm triangle.
Okay, keep talking, Layla. In the meantime, we're going to go over some arm triangle setups. So just different ways of getting the arm triangle put into place. So obviously, anytime you want to get an arm triangle, the initial setup is wrapping around their head and trapping their arm in here along with it. Getting a gable grip and pinching your ear tight to their shoulder. So you should be ear to ear on this one. All right, so let's just look at side mount really quick. It's one of the simplest places to set it up from. So Nick's on that side. Kind of point your head that way. There we go. Back up a tad. Are you talking about small package, Layla? Because that's technical mount. Anyway, so side mount position. Okay. So anytime we want to get an arm triangle, we already have one arm behind the head. You can see that there. That's Nick's left arm. What we need now is to get this arm, the one that's behind Nick's head, to the other side. So we can trap that arm between our head and their head. So sometimes people will mess up and just put it there. Okay, if you're rolling with another white belt, Kevin, this isn't going to be that uncommon. Connor might take that arm to the other side of the head and maybe use that to try pushing on the hip or something like that. They use that left hand to push on his hip. I've seen that before.
Oh,
yeah, doing stuff like that.
Oh.
So this is where we want to trap the arm, just between our head and their head, and then wrap tight, okay, pinching their head to head. So let's look at how we can make this happen. Let's say that Connor's framed. He's got his forearm framed in there. Good. Now, the best place to frame is anywhere from the midpoint of the forearm to the tip of the elbow. So anywhere in here is where you want to make that contact, okay? Now, the further we get from the elbow, the more leverage they're going to have to collapse our arm. So if Nick really pressures in there, the closer we get to the wrist, that arm collapses in and we can't really use it as a frame. However, the closer we get to the point of the elbow, the better the frame can support weight. However, the easier it is for Nick to just make a little C-cup and push that through and start attacking the arm triangle. So it's a very fine line you have to walk when you're putting your frames in for side mount bottom. So really, I like to go, if you take the forearm, wrist to elbow, find the halfway point, and then find the halfway point between there and the point of the elbow. So right about there. So a quarter of the way from the elbow to the wrist, that's where I like to make contact when I'm putting my frames in. Okay? If you slide too close to the elbow, it's too easy for them to pop that through and start attacking. And if you've ever rolled with Levi, you know just how aggressive somebody can be trying to force that arm triangle into play. Oh, he wants that arm triangle. And he's going to do his best to make it happen. Yeah, he's going to get it. So another way that we can force this to happen is with the underjack. Okay, this can be done from side mount. It can also be done from mount. Let's say that Connor's arm is behind Nick's head, the other side, right there. So right now he thinks he's safe. So what Nick is going to do is turn and look at Connor, and he's going to slide his bicep to the point of his elbow and dive that over the top of Connor's head. See how that causes the arm to straighten out? Let's do that again, Nick.
I feel like this is the worst people operate this show.
Yeah. It's rough. All right, so he's going to do the underjack there. And see, by turning his head to look at Connor, that's what's allowing the arm to pass from one side of his head to the other. Now here he drops his head back down to the mat, makes his gable grip, and pinches ear to ear right there. Now he can knee slide them out and start finishing the actual choke. Okay? Now let's look at that again. So the underjack can also be done if Connor has the frame in. Okay? So he can slide his bicep to the point of the elbow and dive that over the top of the head as he turns his head to look, and then dropping into position. Man, we're getting some crazy weather right now, on top of a virus and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's gonna start raining locusts. Yeah. So let's look at that again from the very beginning. Let's say Connor puts his arm on the wrong side of the head to begin with. Okay, drop the head, gable grip. Good. Now we're setting up our arm triangle. Let's say he puts his frame in. If it's too close to the point of the elbow, Nick can pop that through, drop the head. Now he's attacking. With the frame in again, Nick can use the underjack to drive it over the head and then drop down. Let's say the arm is behind the head. That's when we're going to use that underjack to come up and over the top. Right there. Okay? So let's go to the mount position. Oh, yeah. We'll get to that in a minute, Layla. All right, so mount facing the camera. So that's side mount. That's you're going to end up seeing that a lot, trying to force that in there. Now the mount position, we're going to start by getting one arm behind the head. Right there. Make sure your bicep is tight to their carotid artery. Okay. So the further you can reach that hand behind their head, the tighter that's going to end up being. Now, from this mount position, we're going to use the underjack almost every single time. So Nick is going to be skydiving his hips. So crossing his ankles, dropping his hips, and then opening his knees up nice and wide. Now he's going to be driving that arm up and over Connor's head and then walking his head down inch by inch to get into that classic arm triangle position known as the chopping block.
Finish it with just like the shoulder.
Oh yeah, you can. You can. But it's not the best way to do it. I don't want it. I never want a choke to work because I'm covering their mouth. I want it to work because I cut off their blood supply. Okay? So that's the way, that's the best way to get it from the mount. Okay? You can also be sitting up in mount, maybe looking for a figure four, and they're pulling their arms in nice and tight, trying to keep their hands in close. Drive it to the other side, loop around the head. You can do it that way as well. So try pushing it one way, take it the other, and then drop into the chopping block. Right there. And again, that's all about head placement. If you can get your head tight to theirs, trapping that arm, they're good as dead. Right there. Yeah. Yeah. If you leave your arm stuck in there, you can definitely get wrist locked too.
See if you'll fight there. Could you stoop?
Yeah. Okay. All right. What else we can say? Oh, let's look at half guard. Half guard bottom. This is if you ever roll with anybody from any of the Australian 10th planets, they're going to throw this at you. Half guard bottom, arm triangle choke. Okay, it's called the Apollo choke. So, lockdown is in place. Connor has head and arm control. Okay, Nick is going to get the whip down. So take him to this side. Yeah, right there. And normally we use that whip down to get double underhooks, right? Once we get double underhooks, we whip up to the side, to the intersection, and we start attacking our normal half guard game, okay? So what we're gonna look for is during the whip down, getting this arm to the other side of our head. So Connor is in head and arm control. And let's say he works on basing when Nick does the whip down, okay? Now Nick is gonna slip his head to the other side of the arm, and now he's gonna reach around the neck and join his hands in an S grip. So don't go over his arm, go under his arm. Yep. And now it's called the Apollo choke because you're going to take both your hands and put them behind your head like you're flexing. There we go. So this is all just to trap this arm inside the loop. Let's look at that again. Never seen this? Blue belts. Never seen the Apollo choke. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, didn't get that blue belt from me, I guess. Okay, so whip down. Right away, we're going to loop the neck and get into that Apollo position. Yes. You're going to go S grip and put it behind your head. Yes. This is why Connor struggle to try to pull that arm out. Not going to happen. If he keeps the hands in front of his head, so Nick, if you put your hands in front of your head, all of a sudden he's got all kinds of room. You're using a lot more flex here to try to keep this in place. So put those hands behind the head, and it just locks everything in. Okay? Now, this isn't where we're going to finish the choke. We're just looking for the right opportunity to make our adjustments. Okay? Because from here, now we can use the right hand to C-cup the shoulder, clamp our head in nice and tight, make sure everything's in there, and then lock in the full arm triangle grip. Now go temple to temple, and get a little squeeze, extend the lockdown. Roll on your side a little bit.
Just roll this way?
That way. There it is.
Yeah.
Yep. There it is.
I checked that there.
Would it make more sense for Nick to leave top mount, go to side mount for the finish?
Yeah.
Yes and no. Yes and no, Kevin. It is a preference whether you want to finish the top arm triangle from the mount position or finish it from side mount. Okay. So that's a setup from the bottom, attacking the arm triangle choke. Let's look at that again. We'll go over your question in just a second. All right. So we're going to whip down. Notice this hand is already in place to go around the neck. So Nick is basically going to leave this in here, and he's just trying to get that arm to the other side. Right there. Apollo, back of the head. Connor's trying to pull out. Connor knows he's in danger here. He's trying to pull the arm out, Yeah. Now Nick does the final steps to lock everything in. Rolls on his side, extends the lockdown. There's a tap. Cool. So that's a setup from the bottom position. Okay. So let's go back to the top. Let's talk about actually finishing the arm triangle. Okay. Let's start with the bottom.
Go ahead, Kyle. You get a choke.
Yeah. You get a choke. Hey, you get a choke. All right. Mounted arm triangle. Do it on the side. Yeah. Okay. So Connor did the setup, whatever it may be. He got the head and the arm looped in there. He's got a gable grip, and he's got his forehead on the ground, so he's in the chopping block.
That's a good bit. There's no setup.
You just end up someplace. So in order to finish the arm triangle choke, what he's going to do is post this leg, C-cup the shoulder, and turn Nick on his side. Okay. When he does that, he's pushing his bottom arm through as tight as he can, so that his bicep is crushing that opposite carotid artery. Okay. Now he takes his hand and he's going to bring it down as low on Nick's back as humanly possible. And now as he flattens Nick back out, he's making a gable grip, keeping the hands below Nick's shoulder blade. Okay. Head back to the mat. Now you're going to push temple to temple as you drop your top shoulder into his armpit. There you go. Okay. So that's the finishing mechanic for finishing the arm triangle. Now, yeah. Now, it's up to you whether you want to stay mounted or whether you want to dismount and go for the finish. Okay? That is 100% preference. Some people like to stay mounted. Some people like dismounting. Eric Carlson 100% swears by dismounting and walking in a circle towards the head. So scoot back a little bit. Okay, go ahead. He gets the arm triangle. He gets everything locked in. Boom, boom, boom. Now dismount to this side. Yep, towards me. And now you're going to get yourself flat to the mat. Sprawl flat, flat, flat. And now walk in a circle towards his head. Walk, 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 walk. That's one method for finishing. Okay? That, well, you got to dismount. It just allows you to get flatter to the mat. Okay? And you can push tighter into his head when you do that. Okay? So that's one method.
Is there like a certain body type you do that with?
The big guys. Big guys tend to go for that one. You know, the Brock Lesnar's of the world. Okay?
Like to get, like, big guys would do that? Or like
Yes.
To get it on.
Do that. Yeah, to do that on another big guy. That's what I've seen from the heavyweights.
Okay.
They all prefer dismounting. But part of that might be they didn't have the grip properly done in the first
Well, that
place.
makes sense though, because it's big, you have a bigger guy and you can probably get it.
Yes. Yes. So let's look at Eddie Bravo's preferred method. Yeah, Tracy said, "God, dismount on the big fellas." Eddie Bravo's preferred method is actually to go to knee on belly. Okay, so Connor is going to get the arm triangle locked in. Okay, and in this case, let's say instead of having the grip below the shoulder blade, it slides up behind the neck. So let's say you're having a hard time keeping that grip down, so you end up arm triangled up here. Okay. Now Connor is going to turn this into knee on belly towards me. Yep. So bring that butterfly hook to my side. Yes, right there. So slide that knee across the stomach. Keep this leg posted. Good. And now he's using his butterfly hook to twist Nick's hips away from him as he's dropping his head towards the mat this way. So it's causing this torsion force here, twisting Nick's spine as he drops pressure in for the arm triangle choke. Okay. There we go. So that's Eddie Bravo's preferred method of finishing the arm triangle choke. So Eric Paulson, dismount, get flat, walk in a circle towards their head, staying as flat to the ground as you can. Eddie Bravo likes to dismount to knee on belly. Another common one that Eddie's been using lately is just putting his butterfly hooks in. So staying in the mount, locking the choke properly. Yep, all the way down. There, gable grip, flatten your head to the mat. Good. Now, before you start pushing temple to temple, take your butterfly hooks and put them inside his thighs. Both of them. Yep. There we go. Now, you are using that to help pressure yourself in, temple to temple, and drop that shoulder. Right there. That also makes it a lot harder for them to bridge you over, especially if you're going with a bigger guy. Yeah. So, again, these are all preferences. There is no right versus wrong when it comes to these follow-ups. Me personally, I have I'm usually staying mounted and just getting our standard finish, or dismounting and doing the Eric Paulson style of finish. I don't use the Eddie Bravo one as much. Donald, when finishing it from the mount, does it help to Superman your legs for more pressure? Yes and no. Because when you Superman your legs, you're dropping your hips. Okay? That's not really what we want. That's not really where we want the pressure. We want the pressure to be in our shoulder and then in our head. Okay? So go ahead and face the camera. Turn this way for mount position. Yep. So go ahead and lock everything in here. There. Now, when we get this, we're trying to take the shoulder and drop it towards his armpits in this direction. Okay? And actually, if you pick your butt up, you can drop your shoulder harder. Okay? So as you're dropping the shoulder, you want to push your head into them. So it's coming this way and that way. So if you flatten yourself out, if you go Superman and kind of sprawl, that actually makes it harder for you to get that same pressure in, especially with the shoulder.
I can flex out of that one.
Yeah, Nick says you can flex out of it. So you don't really want to sprawl, Donald, when you're mounted. Now, when you're dismounting, yes, you want to get as flat to the ground as humanly possible. Okay, so let's look at that real quick. And the reason for that is that's because once we dismount, the flatter we can get, the more we can drop this shoulder. Okay, the more we can pressure that shoulder down. Okay, so that's the difference. In the mount, we can't drop the shoulder anymore by sprawling into a Superman. But by dismounting the side mount, that's when we can drop our shoulder further. Okay, I hope that answers that question for you. Gotcha, Kimberly. No problem, Donald. Glad you could join us. All right, Kevin. I hope that answers that question. It's been a good while on that. So a couple of quick setups for the arm triangle. Really, very brief explanation of the finishing mechanics, and then different ways of actually getting this finish to happen. Dismounting, going to knee on belly, staying mounted, butterfly mount, and then finishing from the bottom is very different. So it's a very in-depth choke. However, it's widely considered one of the most important chokes if you want to do MMA. Okay, if you want to do MMA, I can tell you, almost every fight that ends up on the ground, I see at least one arm triangle opportunity. Yeah, and people pass up on it all the time, whether that's lack of jiu-jitsu training or lack of faith in your ability to finish it. I know in MMA it can be scary trying to chase after a choke, squeezing, and then if you don't get it, your arms are burned out. You can't throw a punch or hold your hands up to defend yourself. So I understand the worry there, but that just means you should be getting so many reps on arm triangles that you're just an assassin with it. You hear that, you two future MMA guys? Arm triangles. Note taken. So again, if you're thinking about doing MMA, arm triangles are huge. Arm triangle and smish. All right. What was our other question? Layla was triangle fail options when the setup fails from small package. Is that correct, Layla? Give me a yes, no, or a thumbs up, something, anything. Options from small package. Okay, so just options in general from small package. Not necessarily the triangle failed, so now I'm going for something else from that triangle. Just options from small package. Yeah, no. Let's make this very specific. Okay, so options from small package. All right, so let's start by just looking at that triangle from small package. Okay. Now, small package is also known as technical mount, the way some schools teach it.
Head face the camera.
That's fine right there. That's fine right there. Okay. So typically they turn on their side, or we turn them onto their side, and we're going to get a gift wrap. Okay. When we do this, we're going to post this leg and slide the other knee up behind their head. So this is technical mount because we're technically still mounted on top of them. If you get to this position in a tournament, you hold it for 3 seconds, that's 4 points. That's 4 points for mount. You don't need to get your knees flat or anything like that because you are straddled on top of your partner. Both feet are touching the floor. You don't need to flatten your knees in order to get the 4 points for mount. Okay? So typically we're going to set up the triangle here by taking this foot and putting it over this arm and under the other one, right there. Now the higher we can slide the knee up behind their head, the better. The other one. The higher we can slide the other knee up behind their head, the easier this is going to end up being. Okay? Because now Nick is going to let go of the hand and grab his own ankle. Yes. Now as he slides that shin behind the head, he's going to square up to Connor and get him flat on the ground. Yes. Right there.
That's be so great. I didn't have it well, but someone gave it this.
Yes. Okay, so that's typically how we're going to get to that mounted triangle. Let's take a look at that again. And it went from pouring to not raining at all to a light downpour, and now it's coming down pretty hard again. So if you guys are, we're supposed to get like, what, 75-mile-an-hour winds tonight?
I think I already did. I didn't have any.
Yeah. So batten down the hatches, guys. Okay, Nick is sliding up. Look at how far that knee is behind the head. It's already, and then it stopped raining altogether. Look at how far that knee is up behind Connor's head. It's poking way out past the head. That's going to make it easier to slip the foot in right there. He's going to switch his grip from the wrist to his own shin. Now he's got to pull that underneath Connor's head flatten Connor out in the process, and then start looking for the right opportunity to ratchet and get our finish from here. Okay? Perfect. Hands on the mat, walk to a 90, knee stay on the floor, and just drop your butt. Is he alive? Okay. His eyes were closed and his hands flat on the mat, so I was getting a little worried there.
He's just trying
Okay. So that's typically, Layla, I believe that's the setup you like to use to get into that mounted triangle. Am I correct? So let's look at what other attacks we can go to from there. Okay. My personal favorite, the way I get more arm bars than anything else, is from the small package position. Okay. What? Mark Salamango, my power is out. Using my last 50% of my battery to tune in. Thanks, Mark. You're an absolute warrior, buddy.
I heard my power's out at home too.
Your power's out too?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so small package position.
Yeah, how are we looking?
I didn't know they had power out there. Just right off a water wheel. That's freaking great. Tracy, hope your power comes back soon. Yeah, man, you're in 2 minutes.
Outside.
Okay, so here's my personal favorite arm bar.
He gets
on a bike and starts pedaling. The TV's like, okay, serious. We're getting serious, guys. All right. So the tighter we pull on this wrist and sit up, the tighter we're going to maintain control here. Okay, we don't want Connor to be able to pop his head through. Okay, so usually we're sitting up and we're pulling up on the wrist. Now we're going to loosen up just a little bit so we can slip the other hand in and grab a Kimura grip on ourselves. So you're grabbing our own wrist. Now we're going to loop around the head right there, and then your leg's going to follow that loop we just made. Sit to our butts and falling right back into that arm bar. Me personally, like I said, this is how I end up in more arm bars than anywhere else. Okay? We have a very strong grip. It's a Kimura grip. It's Kimura gift wrap. And we have our body weight falling back as we go into this arm bar, so that even if he is able to get his hands together, we're probably going to break it right off the entry. Go ahead. Loop, step, fall back. And then anytime they're able to join the grip, we go right into spider web. Control that leg. Oh, now we can take our time attacking and breaking apart the grip. Okay, so that's my favorite follow-up from there, Layla. If you can't get the arm triangle, attack that arm bar. Okay, another one, small package position.
Have you ever seen that happen? Like people go for stuff like that, like just do a quick like wrist lock and then like just to purposely break it.
Oh yeah, yeah, all the time. I do this shit all the time. Okay, next follow-up from here, Captain Crunch.
Yes.
All right, this is the place to set it up from. So instead of holding onto the wrist, Nick is going to go under Connor's head and lock onto the tricep. The closer we can get to the shoulder, the better. You don't want to be down here. You want to be all the way up there. Okay. So now, let's see. I saw in the setup where I've been messing up. Okay, cool. So now you're going to underhook the leg, sit back into a triangle. If you can get that full body triangle locked in, this is death. And now we're just going to give him a nice big hug and lock in that triangle tight. That's it. That's the Captain Crunch. This is an absolutely brutal technique. This will break some ribs. So pretty please, guys, be careful doing this to your partners. Okay? Go ahead back.
That's actually part of this thing too. That'd be something like
hold off the Captain Crunch.
Well, it's stupid MMA fighter not knowing when to tap. Like they would hold out. Like, I mean,
take a long cleanup process because he's gonna crack himself.
Yeah.
Well, just seeing them walk off, like this, like
You're gonna walk the shame.
Anytime,
like that or the splits or something.
if you ever have to fight somebody wearing white shorts, you know it's Captain Crunch time.
Well, see, it'd be the best thing because you know classic MMA fighters eat McDonald's. So
There wasn't debate.
I can't believe that's a thing.
You didn't have to weigh in and then eat it.
Yeah, I remember my first fight. Some chick did that in jam and getting arrested.
Good God.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I figured the state of MMA would be like years beyond where it is now. And it is on the professional level. Like UFC level, it's like some high level science going on there. Like those guys got PhDs in fight preparation, some of them. And then we get all kinds of other stuff, all the random stuff. But anyway, all right. So from here, Nick can bring the leg through for the triangle, reset. He can loop in that Kimura gift wrap, step over for the armbar, and now he can go grip on the tricep, underhook the leg. Notice what shoulder Nick is falling to. The side he underhooks the leg, that's the shoulder he's landing on for the cat and crunch. Reset.
Do you ideally want to be higher?
Yes.
So you
want not that high.
Like,
You want to be on the narrowest part of their waist. Okay, because that's where the floating ribs are.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that are going to break the easiest.
So
So if you're looking at Connor's torso right here, it's that spot where he comes in before he comes back out for the hips. Okay, it's that hourglass.
Which was what
narrowest
I
point.
guess the break faster tech and squeeze. Just the soft part.
Okay,
The soft part. Well,
I mean, they're both pretty permanent. Scoot back a little. All right, so triangle, armbar, cat and crunch. Let's look at the arm triangle from here. Speaking of arm triangles, Kevin, coming back your way. We're going to take this thing full circle. All right. So from this position, Nick can take that left hand to grab his own forearm, and now he's in that Kimura gift wrap. Okay. In order to go for the armbar, he looped his back arm around the head. Yep, right there. Okay, so let's go back for a second. So you saw this leg posted. Good. Now, instead of bringing the right arm around the head, Nick is going to drop ear to ear and slide that left arm behind the head and flatten his partner out when he does that. Okay, so now we're attacking the arm triangle from here, and we're right back into where we want to be to finish. Seek up the shoulder, turn him on his side, push the arm through, slide the hand low below the shoulder blade, gable grip, ear to ear, and then your preferred method of finish. Nick stayed mounted. That's perfect. Oh, the hangman, yeah. The applegate hangman.
it's like the fuzzy eye.
Yeah. Because that one doesn't feel like a lot of pressure. That's the thing about that hangman one. That's why I don't teach it that often. It's a lot more subtle. Like if we have all like experienced blues and purples in class, I'll teach it.
Right.
But how does that happen? Yeah, yeah, exactly. We don't need any white belts passing out because we're like, yeah, because they couldn't feel the pressure building up on the choke. So anyway, those are some follow-ups, Layla. Hope you're able to use those. The other one, let me think what else. It's a pretty big variety there.
Yeah, all the back takes and stuff.
Yeah, obviously taking the back. Obviously taking the back there.
Back triangle.
Back triangles there too. Let's do the back triangle real quick. Okay. All right, cool. So the back triangle, we're looking at this bottom arm. Okay. So when I'm setting up this back triangle, typically what I'm doing is taking my free hand and I'm pinning this wrist to the ground. Okay. Now we can slide it up or down. Okay. We want to slide it to a place where it's easy for us to take our back foot and step it over that arm. Yes, right there. Okay. At this point, we're going to cross our ankles and we're going to put in a Kimura grip on this arm. Yep. Now the Kimura grip goes behind the head. Our shoulders go one way, our feet go the opposite way. And now we're locking that in nice and tight. So let's look at that again. So you did mounted triangle, Layla. I really want you to focus on getting this back triangle from here. Okay. So we're sitting up. We got the wrist behind the head and we got the wrist pinned to the floor. We can slide that up and down. What we want to do is get the leg behind the head over, sit to our butt, and cross our ankles. Notice we still have the gift wrap in. Okay, so Connor's struggling to get out of that gift wrap still. As long as we have the ankles crossed, he's not getting this arm back through. Okay, so now we put in our Kimura grip and then unloop the head. Now it's time for the finish. We can go into the armbar by stepping the leg over the head. Boom, rewind. Or the back triangle, by taking the Kimura grip behind the head, shoulders to the mat, and feet go in the opposite direction for the triangle. Now finish.
Can you do a shoulder lock there too?
Yeah, you can, but I don't know why.
There it is. Yes, there it works.
Yeah, it
Could you
works.
also this gift wrap? Could you work on just kind of sliding down and taking the back with the hook in, or like his arm trap?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. You just don't want to get too high.
Right.
But yeah, if you trap that over the arm,
I think because especially like if you go for back triangles and stuff here, I feel like a lot of times people try to just break through them or go the other way.
Yes.
So if you got this, they definitely can't go that way. So I feel like they're going to try to do that.
unless you take it.
Right.
If you want to take him that way, go ahead. And notice where he ends up. If Nick falls to that side, he's got the back position with the arm trapped. Okay? So now you start attacking rear naked choke from there too. So that is another direction that you can take this in. All right. That's it for today, guys. We've got a lot covered. I had no idea what we were going to cover today until we got some suggestions.
We're going to change like 7 times in the process.
Yeah. Again, to recap, we're planning on opening up Monday. All right. We'll have some very specific details in your email about our reopening process. Okay. So keep an eye on your inbox. We should know, I know the governor, Michigan governor is doing a big statement on Friday. And that's when we should know for sure 100% that we're going to open up, or if there's going to be another extension or any delay for gyms in the Detroit area for reopening. Okay, so we're going to have a temperature check station at the front desk.
Check me, I'm good.
Yeah. Please, I cannot stress this enough, guys. If you or anybody in your family is feeling sick in any way, shape, or form, or displaying any symptoms, please stay home. Okay. Other than that, thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you guys on Monday. Otherwise, live stream on Saturday. See you guys.